slayer. I don't care if she's a slayer who follows the rules. I feel like that's kind of a weak excuse for why Drew could hypnotize her so easily, and I think the way that she dies is really quick and just not worthy of her character.
They really should have given her an epic battle where she fought to the end. They should have made a whole bunch of vampires be attacking her at once or something.
And then
she's
Drew
kicking
comes
all of them,
in
and then
Drew like slashes her throat in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, instead of hypnotize, and it's like, what?
It could have been something like Kendra's distracted by all of these other vampires or something, and Drew turns around and just like scrapes her throat off. That could have been kind of cool.
Do you know why that's even worse? For two reasons. She just like the effect was that she cut her throat with her nails, but
it's one line of blood.
Yeah, it's just one line of blood, and then she's just
so
dead,
fake
and
too.
it looks really fake, and I feel like her death, what I'm going to say is that it could have been more violent. Like, it feels like, oh yeah, you're just dead now. And that was a
it's someone's bad to say that it could have been more violent. We wanted it to be more violent. But the point is it feels weak. Mm-hmm. It feels weak in comparison to, the weight that Jenny's death held. And the thing is, Kendra's death is a huge catalyst for a lot of things that happen in the second part. So it could have been done with a lot more going on. Like, it could have been stronger. And it felt really weak to me.
And also, Kendra has been, like, fighting vampires and stuff
longer than Buffy, probably?
She was also Jamaican vampires. But she's been fighting vampires, like, longer than...
There's so much about her backstory that's great.
Longer than Buffy has. I'm not saying that like, makes her better enough that she'd be impervious to hypnotism, but it feels like she could have fought a bit more or something. Like, she'd be stronger.
Maybe she's not impervious, but like, you use the whole fact that her opening up and her having more of her own free will is the whole reason why she stays back in the first place, but you don't utilize that when she's getting hypnotized. It feels inconsistent.
It's weird. That death was just weird in general. I almost wonder if they were trying to replicate the same subtlety, not subtlety. The same that didn't happen. That happened with Jenny, and they just failed because it was, in both cases, it's kind of minimal, and it's the follow-up that makes it. Follow-up that makes it really.
Yeah.
But with Kendra, it was just handled badly.
Yeah. If that's the case, then it's just a really terrible execution. But either way, it's just not a very good execution at all. Even if that wasn't the intention, I don't like the way they executed it.
Yeah.
So I have multiple problems with Kendra's death. I also hate the fact that Kendra is fridged. There's this whole thing with the trope of women in refrigerators where people constantly talk about the fact that women are fridged for the sake of a man's story, and I think it's an important thing to talk about. It's an important thing to address that it keeps happening. It happened to Jenny, but also there's a thing that we don't fucking talk about, like, ever, where people of color die for the sake of a white person's story. And that's what happened to Jenny, because even though she's somewhat white passing, Jenny's a person of color. And it's what happened to Kendra. Both of them die within the same season so that Buffy can have her huge comeuppance at the end.
Basically. And
Buffy can go through her personal growth. And it's like, that's not okay. They were the only ones at all.
I just generally don't even get why they killed Kendra. Like, I don't get it at all.
There were more reasons not to kill Kendra than to kill Kendra, in my opinion. Kendra could have gotten badly injured.
I was just about to say that she could have
gone into a coma.
And she could have been out of commission. But then again, what we're saying is Faith stuff.
No, but that's my point. That's my whole point. As much as I love Faith, and you don't understand, Faith is like top 5 Buffy characters for me. I love Faith. I know a lot of people had huge problems with Faith, and so do I. I recognize all the problems with their character, but I love her anyway. Faith didn't have to exist at all. There's no reason for Faith to even be a character to begin with. She's only brought forward because Kendra dies.
And it's extra weird because they...
Is it because she's coded urban?
Because they had a black... Why did they introduce a black Slayer? Only to have her killed and then put a white Slayer in her place.
No, but this isn't just any white Slayer. She's a coded urban white Slayer.
I mean, sure.
Like, there's a whole essay on it about how Faith is kind of coded black and it's weird.
I wouldn't say she's
not, I don't think she's coded black.
Maybe she's coded white trash.
But, yeah, she's coded white trash in my opinion, and she's coded urban.
Which is different from being coded black.
Exactly.
That's not even a good comparison, you guys.
No. But the whole point is that she's not like Buffy's uptown nature. She's kind of trashy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, considering, I'm not saying Kendra has to immediately be trashy because she's black. That's stupid.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Kendra could have remained her character, her own person, and had a similar plot. Mm-hmm. There were more reasons to not kill Kendra than to kill Kendra, in my opinion. I mean, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
So, there's probably, like, tons of other people out there who are just like, Kendra was boring, and Kendra had a terrible accent.
You've had much longer to think about. By the way, it's not like accents haven't developed over time in that show, because that's what happens with Spike.
Yeah, right? Spike's accent gets way better.
So it's not like she couldn't have been like continuing to take the accent classes while she was doing the.
She could have had actual Jamaicans talking to her, like learn to. Because I mean, so far we've only seen her in 3 episodes, and her accent improves when she comes back in Becoming Part 1. And I don't know how much Americans notice this. But we immediately, watching the episode, we're like, oh shit, wait, this is better. She's almost speaking right. It's unbelievable. So it's not like she couldn't have eventually ended up sounding Jamaican, vaguely.
It's just a waste.
I think killing her because her accent's as bad is a poor excuse. If that's the excuse, you know what? A lot of Jamaicans go to America and like assimilate and end up with American accents. You could have just made her accent American.
You could have.
She could have just ended up being more American.
Although, I mean, I feel like if that had been the case, we would have gotten offended by that. Like, we're just like, she's well, I mean, I understand, like, with your particular heritage, you
exactly.
But at the same time, it's just like,
I guess it would be offensive to like Jamaican natives.
Yeah, this black character, and she's Jamaican, and then they have to make her voice.
She has to assimilate to the white
she's
people.
acceptable. What that means?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. But I mean,
sorry.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't get offended personally because that's my situation. That's what I went through as a kid, where I was born in the States. I moved to Jamaica. I had a Jamaican accent. I moved back, and my accent became very American. Mm-hmm. And even when I'm speaking like with Jamaican friends and everybody has a very heavy accent and stuff, I still kind of have a bit of an American accent mixed in there. And if I'm in America, there's like a blend of Jamaican somewhere in the back of my accent. Like American, my accidental accent. My accidental. We're so sorry! I'm so sorry. That was a bad joke. Like, it's only Americans who can pick up on my Jamaican accent. Like, my Jamaican family in the States will be talking to me and just be like, why do you sound so American? What is wrong with you? The Americans are like, where are you from? Like, where are you from?
Are you from, like, Africa or something? And
you kind of sound English. You kind of sound like you're from England. Are you from England? Yeah, so Kendra could have stayed. Jenny could have stayed. Mm-hmm. Stop fridging women. Stop fridging black people. Stop fridging people of color. Stop fridging LGBT. Stop fridging people. It's fucking weird. It's just... It's like, I appreciate the fact that sometimes a death is what, like, drives a character arc, but it's really disturbing to me when the death also kind of feeds off of certain systematic power dynamics.
Yeah.
Like, if it's a death of your sibling, a death of your mother, a death of your father, like, specifically mother if it's, like, a female character, because it makes me uncomfortable when it's a male character now.
Because
it happens all the time.
Yeah, dead mothers, especially with, like, Disney and stuff. Dead mother is a thing.
Yeah, but usually it's with Disney princesses, which, again, it's just kind of like, it's uncomfortable and weird, but at least it's women, you know? But it bothers me specifically where it's a thing where it's a woman dying for a man's sake, or a person of color dying for a white person's sake, or an LGBT person dying for a straight person's sake. It's like, don't fucking do that, because in real life there's issues in our societal structure that you're ignoring right now by doing that.
That I mean, funnily enough, considering that it's Rent, that kind of happened for me in Rent. That does happen in Rent. Because Angel. hey. Angel is the most, like, stereotypically gay coded.
Angel's weird because Angel is coded trans.
Okay, I was wondering.
But there's no real definition there. Like, I headcanon Angel as genderqueer because Angel seems to accept both he and she pronouns and be okay with people referring either way to the gender, and not, like, it seems like Angel's gender is flexible, but
the main character,
but he's like
the main character,
or she, however you want to call it, is like coded trans. But, and by it I mean the pronoun, not the person.
Yeah.
I just realized how weird that could sound. It's never really clarified how they identify, and I don't like that. By the way, this is a side note because it actually does happen in the Buffyverse at least once, and we're gonna talk about that a long time from now when we get to it. It's a long time from now. But there's an issue sometimes where you have a genderqueer or a gender-neutral character, or a character who's just not cisgender, and you don't clarify exactly how they identify, you don't address that at all. Like, they don't have any personal feelings about how they identify, they're funny, because they're not exactly how we are, and it's messed up.
And that does happen. That does happen with... Should I just say them for the sake of...
Who?
For Angel.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with them.
That does happen with them. Like, they're just, like, performing and, like, doing your, like, guy person maybe, but do girl thing. And that's... And
when Angel dies, suddenly they're using she pronouns.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all weren't really doing that before she died.
She looked beautiful. I just saw her in heaven, and I'm just like, you guys, get away. Come on. Really?
Is it a thing where they was disrespecting her gender before, and now all of a sudden that she's dead, y'all want to respect her gender? Is that what's going on? What's the basis here?
Is there a thing where... because they die, it becomes women in refrigerators and she becomes a she. Like, exclusively she.
That's so
because she's in a position of being dead now. And so they're a she.
We respect them.
They're she, no. Instead of it being either way. What's his name was bad enough. Glasses guy, like basically main character. Mark. He referred to them as he.
Yeah, he multiple times.
And then after a week or whatever, he's like she.
Why do you care now?
And it's just, what is the... Is it that they care, or is it that... But
it's really weird.
It's weird. But we're getting off topic. But that's still an issue.
It's completely off topic, but it does become an issue in the Buffyverse, and it's semi-relevant, but it's just not relevant to season 2.
Yeah.
What is relevant is the fact that, like, stop fridging people. Because it happens twice at least this season. I don't know, it might happen in some, like, side episodes that I'm not thinking of, but yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with certain situations of fridging because that's like a thing that happens in real life. Like people die, and sometimes you get like positive things out of the death of a loved one and stuff like that. However, there are certain cases that have been ruined. They cannot be used. I don't agree with them being used at all. I don't agree with women dying for the sake of men. I don't agree with any of the ones that you mentioned. But if it's like marginalized
because it's so common now, it's really disturbing, and these people already are oppressed in society. You don't need to make it worse, you know.
But if it's like a marginalized group dying for the sake of another marginalized group, or if it's like which doesn't happen, by the way. Like imagine a white male dying and then another white male who isn't related to him. It's like their friend, their best friend.
No,
they
that
get
shit
like
happens
pathos
in
from it or something. That happens in Supernatural, but I don't even wait. It depends who you're talking about because queer baiting.
I mean, yeah, it happened to the old queer baiting one.
But so I don't.
There's also an example of a POC dying for like getting fridge for the sake of 3 white men in Supernatural because you had Kevin who died. Spoiler.
But just imagine if that happened. If it was just like, and there was no context in which you could go, oh, maybe they're in a relationship. They're just like friends or something.
John Locke.
No, except you. Well, okay. We know that there's nothing about the writing that actually makes them.
But I mean, canonically, they're not trying to actually set anything up. It's just fans really like it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of fans won't accept that it's not there canonically. But in terms of the writing, it's just that they're really close friends, and he jumped off of a building, and John's like, "What the fuck? No!"
Yeah.
So
they're just like, look at how he reacted. It's because he's in love.
And if you don't want to think about it being BBC Sherlock, that happens in almost every version because that's how Conan tried to kill off Sherlock. Didn't work though because the fans wouldn't have it.
So, writers and their fans.
Poor Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who was just like, I fucking hate this guy and I just want to kill him. And then he killed him, and then the fans were like, excuse me, bitch. Now.
That reminds me of Jason Todd, only the other way around.
Because the fans were like, kill him!
He's like, kill him, we hate him!
And then he came back, he came back better.
Yeah, I know everybody loves him. He's like a lot of people's favorite character.
Yeah!
Is Jason Todd.
No, because Jason Todd was a shit in the old comic.
Jason Todd is still a shit.
Yeah, but he's a funny shit.
He's a funny shit, and he's just like... Well, he was always competent, too. I don't know. Jason Todd is just really cool now.
I guess people just miss Dick. That's all it was. And you see, now you get to have Dick and Jason, and that's why people like him.